Hello everybody, this is Bird Brain, where here we are, nerdy for the birdies. The Philadelphia Eagles completed a thrilling comeback against the Los Angeles Rams to win 33-26, and we have a lot to talk about. So, as standard for our program, we're going to talk about offense, then defense, and then special teams, and really come up with our player of the game. So, starting off with the offense, and really the offense is a tale of two halves. First half and really the first drive of the second half, the offense was pitiful, and it was kind of the climax of this highly conservative, really poor offense that the Eagles were playing. And then the second half was just let Jalen rip, let him have some fun, spread it around, get it to his receivers, let A.J. Brown do A.J. Brown things, let Devontae Smith do Devontae Smith things, get the ball to other guys. And the offense looked so much better, so much more explosive. It's like he hit the deep bomb to A.J., they hit the deep play to Goddard, and it's like, bang, you're just back in this game again. And there were some very interesting comments made after the game from Jalen and A.J. Brown, where A.J. himself straight up said that, the offense was playing conservative and they need to open it up more. And Jalen said, we need to stop playing not to lose. And I don't think these are like shots that are like malicious shots, but these feel like things aimed more at the coaches to say, hey, trust us, we are guys. And I fully am with the players on this. Look, this conservative nature was going to bite the Eagles in the butt. It always was. You have exceptional weapons, right? There is no need to just hide them and protect them because you're worried about maybe there's a turnover, right? Jalen Hurts has been pretty good at taking care of the football for large portions of his career, right? Arguably the majority of his career. I mean, last year, after his rough start, he threw two interceptions the rest of the year. One was in Dallas Week 10, and the other was in the Super Bowl. Both games the Eagles won by multiple scores, by the way. It just doesn't... And this team, with the defense it has and the pieces it has, those kind of things don't really matter. I understand the nature of wanting to get explosive plays, but not at the jeopardy of turning the ball over. Look, we're not trying to be the 2019 Tampa Bay Bucks where Jameis throws 30 touchdowns and 30 picks. Like, that's very unstable, right? That's why they kind of sometimes would win their games by large margins, and that's why sometimes they lost their games by large margins. They finished 7-9 that year. The offense needs to have a cohesion and a balance, because as they started to open the passing game up, suddenly there were rush lanes available for Saquon, and while he never popped off that 60-yard rushing touchdown that we saw last year, we got some nice chunks in the second half. They started running Jalen Hurts more, and that was honestly my problem with the offense the first few weeks. It wasn't just the passing game, it was the lack of really anything else beyond it. It was short passes, slants to AJ, screens, and look, I'm not saying you can't run those plays, but that shouldn't be all you do. And then they just kind of hand off to Saquon. We barely would see Jalen use his legs. We wouldn't see anything creative downfield, and everything just felt condensed and small. So now in the second half, everything opens up, and everything has been so much better, right? And look, the run game will follow if they can continue at this level, right? To kind of give a reference, think about Tampa last year. Baker Mayfield threw 41 touchdowns and I believe 16 picks. And people look at the 16 picks as a bad thing, but like the Bucs were one of the better teams in the NFC last year. Yes, they finished 10-7, but they weren't really a bad 10-7 team. They were a 10-7 team that was probably closer to like 12-5. That, by the way, beat both the Eagles and the Lions last year. The only team that can say that. And they almost beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Like, the reason why the Bucs didn't have a better record is they had a lot of injuries and they lost games towards the middle of the season, right? When you have the resources that Philly has, especially offensively, you shouldn't worry about turnovers too much, right? I'm not saying I want Jalen Hurts next week to go throw 5 interceptions, but if Jalen Hurts has a game where he throws 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, it's not the worst thing, right? Like, if Jalen finished this season with 30 touchdowns and 12 picks, 12 is the second most he's ever had in his career, but the touchdowns will definitely make you feel better about it. Like, that's all I'm saying. You have a dynamic quarterback, dynamic receivers, dynamic running back, dynamic offensive line. Lean into that. Why hide it? Why play like you have to do this? It's like watching some Steeler teams or some of the Broncos teams not too long ago, where they didn't have the talent and they knew that, hey, we have a defense. As long as we don't mess up, we'll win games. It's like you just can't play football like that, and they shouldn't. So to see them air it out against the Rams, get some points, move down the field, it felt good. Hopefully the offense can build off of this. Going to the defense, and I mostly have positive things to say about the defense. They did struggle at points in this game. You know, they really struggled against the run. Kyren Williams was just kind of mashing them because of how well, you know, the Rams marry the run concepts with the pass concepts. Puka got his, and Puka's always going to get his. You know, Devontae beat Reed Blankenship on that deep ball. You know, honestly, Reed in that situation, it's whatever. Devontae Adams is a great receiver, and yeah, he should beat a safety in that situation. But the defense didn't give up, especially in that part when the offense was not doing much in the first half. They were forcing field goals. I mean, after that Devontae Adams touchdown, the only touchdown the defense gave up all day was that little flip to Kyren Williams after Jalen Hurts was strip sacked. The rest of the day, it was field goals, and they shut down the Rams in the second half. They held them down. They got key stops. The defense made plays, right? And that's what we need. You know, this is the style of defense Vic Fangio is going to play. It's a bend, don't break style. You know, the defense, they almost blew it in the end on that final drive because Jacorian Bennett's coming in kind of cold going up against Puka Nacua. So yeah, that went about as bad as you think it would go. But the fact of the matter is that the defense has been solid, right? I don't think it's been the ironclad defense that it was last year, because it's not turning over the ball like 10 times a game, and it's not necessarily getting like, you know, a bunch of sacks. But everything else, though, it's been, for the most part, fundamentally sound. And I think they can win with that. They can trust the defense. The offense can lean on it if the offense makes mistakes. So I think that's perfectly fine, and it's good to see the defense stand up in a game like this, because they were a huge reason why we were able to come back. Going to special teams. Watching kickoffs today was one of the most painful things. And special teams was really arguably the biggest problem in the first half. I know, as bad as the offensive play calling is, when you're consistently backed up offensively in this league, it's not really expected that you're going to lead many 80-plus yard touchdown drives, or even just 60-yard drives starting inside the 10, inside the 15, being able to go downfield. I mean, Tank Bigsby and John Mechie could not field anything. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't turn over any of those fumbles. It's a miracle. It was shocking watching this. I've never seen a team muff so many kicks in a game. It was so bad, and it was frustrating, and it just kind of snowballed the offense's problem more, and it snowballed the problem now for defense, because the other part of the problem for defense is now they're defending on short fields. And if they're on short fields, it's like they're going to give up points. Like, there's just nothing they can do about it. So it was frustrating all around. Thankfully, though, special teams came up in a big way with 2 blocked kicks, and we're going to talk about one of them in particularly. And obviously, that's what we needed. Eventually, they got their act together, but it's hopefully this is just a one-time thing. It's a bad day. Clean it up. There's a lot here for this team to clean up, honestly, looking at the overview. But if this team is what it was in the second half, her games, they're going to win a lot of games in this league. They are a very dangerous team. Saquon Barkley practically did nothing in this game, and they still won. The Eagles played horribly in the first half. Most teams do not win this game, right? That being said, we cannot consistently expect to play this way and win football games. So that has to change. Anyways, for player of the game, this is a game that has a lot of nominees, but I'm going to name the winner first. Jordan Davis. What a game he had. He gets a sack in this game. You know, he has 5 tackles. I think he leads all defensive tackles in tackles. We had that huge 4th down stop. He's a part of 2 block kicks, and he returns it for a touchdown to win the game. Like, what? Like, watching this game, seeing Jordan Davis score, my mind went straight back to Miracle at the Meadowlands. I mean, this game basically was that. But also, shout-outs do go to Jalen Hurts. Even though he had a fumble, I thought he played well, 4 touchdowns. A.J. Brown stepping up, getting some big plays, kind of sparking the offense. And Fred Johnson, because when Lane Johnson went down, Matt Pryor came in and he was horrible. He exacerbated the offense's issues. Fred Johnson came in and it felt like the offense just calmed itself. And it's like it suddenly started, everything started clicking better. And it's like the offense kind of got back in sync. But yeah, Jordan Davis is the player of the game. Anyways, we got Tampa next week, y'all. So, this has been Bird Brain. Hope you guys enjoyed being nerdy today. Fly Eagles fly. See you around.